back in Boulder, it's Arizona State. Game week, it's senior week. It's going to be senior night on Saturday here at Folsom Field, and we got a chance to talk to Arden Walker, one of the guys that's going to be playing in his last home game. Expected that to be the same for Ben Finneseth, who joined us as well, but he revealed that he's gotten the clearance that he's got another year of eligibility, which I thought this was it for him. So that was good news to come out of today's presser.
Yeah, I think CU might have thought that too, because I think they intended to put two seniors on the podium, so he might have just got himself a free press conference there. No,
it was a good press conference, so I'm glad we got him.
I always love talking to Ben. He's great. But yeah, senior day always emotional. Coach Prime said, it's definitely gonna be emotional. Obviously, last year there was a lot of focus on the fact that it was Shedeur and Shiloh, senior day with their dad, and we knew it was gonna be Travis's last home game and things like that. But this, Coach Prime talked about. Yes, there's an Arden Walker. There's not Ben, but there's guys like that. But he said, don't forget about the guys like Jeremiah Brown and Alejandro Mata, who have been on this journey with me since Jackson State. I can imagine that there's gonna be a lot of emotions for Coach Prime, with those guys. He's put a lot of faith in Mata and Jeremiah Brown over the years, and they've done the same for him. So there's gonna be a lot of emotions on Saturday night.
Yeah, we've talked about this. It is important for them to get another win this season. I think it would be a big springboard for this program. But it was also refreshing to hear those two defensive guys talk about Julian Lewis's growth and how that's kind of providing some motivation for this team right now because of kind of the promise that he's showing for the future.
Yeah, and I don't think they were throwing any shade at Caden Salter, but Ben was asked, is there any more juice with Juju getting there? And he goes, yeah, absolutely, because you see just kind of the energy he has, and I think it's more of him like backing Juju and
right.
Seeing the promise in him. And yeah, it's fun to see that these young guys have seen it. And Ben told a great story. He goes, like, I don't know if I should share this, but he did. That back in the spring, he goes, he was pretty hard on Juju. He goes, I think he hated me because Ben didn't say whether he was prompted to do this or whether it was on his own, but he would every day in spring ball, he would kind of grade the quarterbacks, rank them based on effort, and he would always have Juju last, and Juju was ticked off at him and mad at him for that. And then as the summer went along, he's like, man, you're not last anymore. I'm proud of you. And Juju was like, I thank you, appreciate you doing that. And so maybe Ben is one of the springboards of Julian Lewis's career here.
Yeah, he's apparently a father figure. He said that Ben Finneseth said that Juju could darn near be my kid at this point because obviously Julian just turned 18 years old. That was another funny moment in the press conference. Coach Prime was asked about Rick George. It's the first time we've had a chance to talk to him since Rick George made the announcement that he's going to be stepping down as the athletic director at the end of this school year. Doesn't seem to be concerning Coach Prime too much. He said repeatedly when asked about it that he has faith that because Colorado's he really likes Todd Solomon, the president, and Schwartz, the chancellor, that he thinks those guys are going to pick the right guy, and he's not really worried about it.
Yeah, and also the fact that, look, no matter who the AD is, Rick George is still going to be involved with Coach Prime and with football, and so there's still going to be that close relationship between those two guys, and so that's going to be a big part of it. But yeah, I think Coach Prime is confident, in that process, and he talked about how he had a great relationship with his AD at Jackson State, Ashley Robinson, and so in fact he talked to him just the other day. So he's got a great relationship with Rick. Coach Prime just seems to be that type of guy that as long as those guys are showing support for him, he's going to show it for them.
Yeah, and that's the key, is that they are getting the support from the leadership at the university, and that has been sometimes up and down around here. And so that has been more solidified, and so it makes sense why Coach Prime's not freaking out about the situation. And I think Rick was pretty honest about that he was coming to the end of his tenure. I don't think it was much of a surprise to many people around here.
Yeah, and look, for anybody that speculating that he's leaving because they're 3-7 and this is going downhill. I can just tell you, I think Rick would be okay with me saying this. I talk to him all the time. He's told me this for a couple of years. That, look, I'm not going. He told me when he signed his contract. He goes, "This will be my last contract with CU," and his contract ends in 27. So I knew it wasn't going to be too much longer. He was gone anyway. He is 65 years old and wants to do something different. And so this is something he's sort of contemplated for quite a while, that he knew the end was near-ish for a couple of years, and now it's really near.
Yeah. We did a whole video talking about Rick George stepping down. If folks out there haven't seen that yet, we talked for, I think it was about 40 minutes about kind of his legacy and what he's been able to accomplish as the athletic director here. This week, Arizona State comes to town. They have 3 losses. It's a good, solid football program. Yeah. Cam Scadaboo was just the heart and soul of that team. And so I kind of expected them to take a small step back. But when Sam Levitt went out, it was like, wow, you're putting Jeff Sims in there. This could really go south. But back-to-back weeks, he's played well enough for them to win a conference game.
Yeah, man, credit to Kenny Dillingham and that team, because when you lose a guy like Cam Scadabo, you could see a bigger drop than what they've had. And they did return a whole lot of people. But you're right, Cam was that heart and soul of that team. And if you would have told us at the start of the year, you lose Cam, you're also going to lose Levitt to an injury. They've had the other guys that have been injured as well. Jordan Tyson hasn't played in several weeks. We probably would have said it's going to be a real struggle for this team. Well, they're 7-3 and have a shot to go 9-3. So this team is. Kenny Dillingham's got a pretty good program going right now, and I think that his culture that he's building is pretty strong.
Yeah, there's you mentioned Jordan Tyson, a former Buff. Shema Mateer is their tight end, and Kendrick Breedlove is on the Sun Devils team as well. So some connections with this team. We'll get more into the Sun Devils as we get deeper into the week. Lastly, Arden Walker, talked to him. I would imagine Saturday is going to be pretty emotional for him, because he's one of those guys that really does bleed black and gold.
Yeah, and even though he went to Missouri, which is also black and gold, but his dad played here and was part of the glory years under Coach McCartney. And Arden Walker grew up hearing those stories from those years, and this place is close to his heart, and close to his family's heart. And so this is gonna be emotional for him. And he talked about the fact that, look, even the offspring from that group, he's one of the last guys to be able to play. And so he's a legacy Buff, and there's a lot of pride in that for him. And he's trying like crazy, man, to get a couple more wins. And I think that would mean a lot for him to win on senior night.
No bowl this season, but it still is an important stretch, because I feel like the better Julian Lewis plays, the easier it's going to be for them to attract a top-level offensive coordinator. Much easier for them to attract transfers, even prep recruits. So we got the second bye week out of the way, these 2 games. Then you're jumping into prep recruiting. That signing day is going to be the first Wednesday in December. That's coming up pretty quick. Yeah. Coach Prime has said there are going to be changes. He's vowed that many times to us here in recent weeks. So this is a very critical stretch for Colorado, even though you don't have that carrot of bowl eligibility out there anymore. Yeah,
and one other thing, I agree with all the things you just said. One other thing, if Julian plays pretty well and then he winds up staying, I think it's going to be a boost off-season, like ticket sales, things like that. The energy of the fan base will be like, wow, okay, a sophomore Julian Lewis next year, we can get behind that. And so I think there's a lot of things at stake for the Buffs in these next 2 games, and that's why Ben Finneseth is talking about that juice that Julian brings. Is there's something to him that we saw it at West Virginia. I think fans are looking forward to seeing it here because they haven't seen it a whole lot. The Delaware game didn't go great, but it was a very small sample size as well, and he was still 17 years old at the time. He's now the ripe old age of 18, so we'll see what he looks like now.
He stayed in town, Julian did, during the bye week, and it sounds like 9 hours over the weekend, a film that he watched. And so it's everything that we've seen and heard out of Julian Lewis since he got named the starter here a couple weeks ago has been encouraging.
Yeah, I think it's twice he's talked to us, or is it just once? He just talked to us after West Virginia, I think. Very mature, the way he was talking to us in that press conference as well. And, I think his tone was a little bit different than even earlier this year when we would talk to him when, he doesn't know he's going to be the starter, but he had that, you could sense sort of a leadership tone to him after West Virginia as well. And so I think that when you're young like that, sometimes you're reluctant to step into that leadership role when you're not the starting guy, but I think now that he's ready to take that over.
And you think back to Big 12 media days, the decision to have him go to that was probably a good one, because I don't know if any 17-year-old is ready for that type of event, but he handled it well enough, and I think getting those reps has kind of helped him accelerate that maturation process a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And he's around a lot of people that are helping him mature, and he's obviously very mature on his own, but a lot of people around him that are helping him as well.
All right, we'll be back on Wednesday after we do some more interviews on Arizona State game week.